think at this point in time, I want to invite Debjani Ghosh, the fifth president of NASSCOM, the first woman president, to come up and deliver her remarks. Debjani?
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. I thought Atul has warmed you guys up. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, and a very warm welcome to NPC 2019. So I'm here to talk about the power of 10x. You know, the first thing that comes to mind when I think about 10x is actually childhood. I grew up in a very large joint family, 12 brothers, me, one sister, so 13 of us. I was lucky number 13. Uh, it was very competitive. Everything was about competition. Everything was about beating each other. It was just tremendously competitive. And I think my parents and my aunts and uncles just loved the way we used to compete. So they used to totally encourage that. So there was this saying in the family that, you know, growing up, we used to keep hearing it every single day. You aim for the sun and you land on the moon. And we used to realize, and I at least looking back now at the childhood journey, I realized that every time I wanted to excel or do something really, really crazy, I would need that completely big, hairy, bold goal out there, which would get me to leap much further, much higher than what I would otherwise. And I think that is the 10x mindset that India desperately needs today. Absolutely needs today. You know, especially as we grapple in this digital world to figure out what our space in this digital era, in this era of data driven economy should be. As India has an aspiration, we want to become a hub for end-to-end digital solutions for the world. The biggest challenge facing us is, can we replicate the success we've had in services? You heard Atul talk a bit about that. Can we replicate the success we've had in services in products to actually do that? Now, as all of you know, services and products are two completely different things. They have different DNAs. So, you know, if we have to replicate success, I honestly think we have to figure out how to build the playbook for success in the product world. It's going to take a complete rehaul of the old playbook. It's going to take complete rewiring of the old playbook. And it's going to take a completely different mindset. To me, that's the critical one. It's going to require us to think differently, act differently, in order to build a playbook that will allow us to be successful as a product nation. Last NPC, we gave the clarion call, as Atul said, for companies to build products in India. A lot has happened in 12 months. The product ecosystem has significantly grown. We are all very proud of B2B companies like Dhruva that has become unicorns. We've seen significant interest in the services company to start something in the product space. And, you know, we're seeing all of this play out. And then comes the what I call the cherry on the top, which is the government push. The government came out with the National Software Product Development Policy for India, putting a huge challenge in front of industry. And the challenge, how do you get from the 8 billion where you are today to an 80 billion industry in the next 5 years? That, ladies and gentlemen, is a 50% CAGR. If you look at where we are now and where we have to be in 2025, that's a 50% CAGR. Difficult? Oh my God, yes. Absolutely, yes. Tremendously challenging. A 50% CAGR in this kind of an environment, some will say it's absolutely crazy. Impossible? I don't think so. I absolutely do not believe it is impossible if we can get our act together, if we can think differently, and if we have that exponential mindset or that 10x mindset. Now, we have seen a lot of 10x success stories in India, and that gives me a lot of hope. The first name that comes to mind is UPI. 1 billion transactions, 3 years since its launch, 100 million users. I mean, if that's not 10x, what is? I mean, what a fantastic growth story that is. Then comes Jio. Jio did not just disrupt the telecom sector, Jio disrupted India. Jio made Digital India a reality. I mean, again, a tremendous success story when we think of exponential growth. Then there are other players, be it Flipkart, Oyo, Ola. We have seen some magnificent success stories in the recent years in India to know that it is possible. And if you look across all these stories, the success formula actually is pretty simple. You need a very strong latent need. You need a solution that is very simple, easy to use, and addresses that need very, very, very closely. You need an ecosystem. You need a government push. You need whether it was Digital India or the move towards cashless India, etc. You need a strong government push, and you need an ecosystem that is tremendously hungry and will leverage every single opportunity that comes up to disrupt status quo. Now, when you think about product, I believe we have the opportunity. I believe we absolutely have the need. What we need is building that ecosystem. We need a diverse, a connected ecosystem that will be hungry, that will be obsessive about growth, and that will be able to think exponential to achieve that 80 billion goal that we have set for ourselves. The two key success imperatives in my mind as we think about building that ecosystem is talent and mindset. I think these are the two key success imperatives in India. We need talent that will look, behave, and act differently than what our services talent has done. And we need mindset that is going to think differently from services. Both, unfortunately, we do not have in abundance in India. The question is, can we grow? And can we grow it fast enough? That's the charter of the NASSCOM Product Council. That's the biggest task ahead of the NASSCOM Product Council, which is how do we grow? How do we accelerate the growth of the product ecosystem in India? How do we grow the talent? How do we grow the thinking that is needed in the product space? As we deliberate the 80 billion challenge over the next 2 days in NPC 2019, I would urge you to think about these two things. It's not just about what we do, it's about how we think. Are we thinking the right way? Are we thinking differently enough? Are we thinking exponential? Are we thinking disruptive? And what is needed to think differently? Because if we can crack that code, we will crack the 80 billion challenge. In fact, I would love to set a date with time, same time, 2025 in Bangalore. We are all here and we are discussing about that crazy journey that India had to get to the 80 billion goal. How obsessively, how unreasonably obsessive we all were to ensure that we get there. And get there we must. Thank you very much.